So the agreed framework marked a new role for the intelligence community with the IAEA now at Yongbyon. You know, before the IAEA was at Yongbyon in 1992, if you wanted to know anything about what's going on at Yongbyon, you had to ask the intelligence community because nobody had ever been there, except the IAEA did go to the Soviet-provided research reactor, the IRT, but when they did that, they did not see any of the other facilities at Yongbyon. So up until that point, if you wanted to know about anything else at Yongbyon, you wanted to know about the plutonium production reactor, you had to ask the intelligence community. But with the IAEA at Yongbyon, with the agreed framework in place, the intelligence community job shifted, and the concern now was we now needed to look for the possibility of undeclared nuclear activities anywhere in North Korea. Obviously a much more difficult job. And so this is where preconceptions and beliefs and assumptions come into place. If, like the Defense Intelligence Agency, as I already mentioned, on the more hardline side of interpreting North Korean behavior, if you are convinced that North Korea is not going to give up its nuclear weapons program, no matter what, and they have agreed to a freeze on the plutonium production facilities at Yongbyon, the only place that we know of where they have the potential capability, then obviously there has to be nuclear weapons related facilities somewhere else in North Korea. And I think that thinking was a factor in the identification of a suspect plutonium production site at a place called Kumchang-ri in North Korea. This issue was briefed to Congress aggressively by DIA. It became a part of the internal debate in the administration about the agreed framework. And after some negotiations, the North Korean, and the provision of, I think, 400,000 tons of food aid in compensation, the North Koreans permitted the U.S. to inspect this site, and it was found that it was unsuitable for nuclear use. So that issue was certainly an embarrassment for the intelligence community, an example of the greater challenges associated with the intelligence community job after the agreed framework. There were also, almost from the beginning of the agreed framework, concerns about uranium enrichment activity in North Korea. By the late 1990s, there was indications that the AQ-CON network, the Pakistani AQ-CON network, had been dealing with North Korea in this area. But according to the testimony of U.S. officials dealing with this at the time in the administration, by the end of the Clinton administration in 2000, according to Bob Einhorn and others' testimony, this was seen as being at the research and development level. So the Clinton administration attitude was, you know, we're concerned about this, we need to follow up on it at some point, but we're going to basically deal with that at another stage. In the latter years of the Clinton administration, there was a big focus on getting a missile moratorium, and that's another subject. I'm not talking much about missiles here, but basically it was on their scope, but they hadn't done anything about it.